us Kirby fans, I gotta admit, really just winning in 2022. We got Kirby in the Forgotten Land to kick off the year. We just recently had the 30th anniversary concert where they announced the anime is getting an HD Blu-ray release. And now we have yet another Kirby game releasing from HAL, Kirby's Dream Buffet, which is more of a party game. And the game itself, I really like, but as you could probably tell from the title, there is one aspect about it that really pisses me off, something I'm starting to get really sick of with these Nintendo games, and it is something that is fairly crucial to enjoying what is otherwise a really fun experience. So let's start with the good, which there's a lot. The overall theme design of the game is phenomenal. Kirby getting shrunk down into a little puff, rolling around, playing these mini games and all these food-themed stages. Having a game about just stuffing your face to become the fattest piece of shit you can possibly be is right up my alley. This is the kind of stuff I excel at. And let's be real, the only thing cuter than normal Kirby is Super Chonk Kirby. And there are a ton of collectibles and unlockables in this game that you can equip him with to make him even more adorable. Different colors, of course, some of which are themed towards different characters from the games, as well as like hats and masks, other items that you can throw on your Kirby to make them stand out, all of which are unlockable in-game, by the way. Even the Meta Knight setup. Man, big happy Chonk Meta Knight. I mean, God, that's good content right there. The gameplay, I think, is solid. I really like the racing stages. I think they're creatively laid out. The way you can use copy abilities to knock out your opponents, sort of cheat to get around different obstacles is a lot of fun. And there's definitely a lot of strategy in there. You know, you're always basically trying to get as much fruit as you can. Winning the mini games, like if you get to the end of the race first, you can get access to like a really big cake with a bunch of berries in it. It's actually kind of funny, again, even strategy-wise, when you get to the end, there's a little bit of strategy, because you could be neck and neck with somebody, and if you both go for like the big 50 cake, well, only one of you is going to get it, and then by the time you break off and try to go for like the smaller 21 or something, someone else may have come in and already get it. So it's not just like crossing the finish line. Even after you get to the end, you have to kind of think about like, okay, where am I going to go? The other mini games as well, mostly just about like collecting as many berries as you can, battling it out, slamming your fatty Kirby into other players, knocking them away so you can get stuff, knocking them off the stage, even like Smash Brothers style. The final mini game is always just this like battle royale. They're dropping berries for you to pick up, and you can use the items to straight up KO, knock opponents off the stage. And when you KO another player, you'll actually steal some of their berries. Again, just a lot of fun. At this point, everyone's all chungused up, knocking into each other. And I think the Grand Prix mode overall is well put together. You can play offline at least. You can play these different minigames individually, but the Grand Prix that brings them all together, I think, is laid out really well. The matches are fast. You know, you get in and out of the games quickly. And it sort of has a Mario Party vibe where you always feel like you can win. You know, you could be sucking in the first couple of games and still come back as the majority of the berries are handed out in that final game. Obviously, you have a very good visual cue on who's winning, whose Kirby is the fattest, so, you know, you want to target them, be knocking them off the stage as much as you can so everyone can siphon berries off them. And also, just like in Mario Party, when you finished everything, there's a bunch of bonus berries that get handed out, just like bonus stars at the end. You know, they'll say, oh, who, you know, floated the most, who collected the most berries during races, that sort of stuff, and those players will get another like 40 berries dumped on them. So even in the final hour, after all the gameplay is over, you can still come out ahead. There's certainly not a lot of content in the game. There's only a handful of mini games. Most of the changes have to do with like the stages, because there are different stages that you race on, battle on, etc. And even in that department, there aren't too many, but this is also a much cheaper game, which I'll talk a little bit more about that later, because I want to get into, as I said, the one big problem I have with this game. If you were interested in this game, like when the trailers and that dropped, it was probably one of the first questions you had. How is the online? Totally sucks. Super laggy. I've had many instances where it straight up froze for several seconds. you'll regularly see like dropped frames, you know, a little jerking in that, which especially when you're going fast in like the races, like if you get the wheel and you start really cruising and the game's all like juddery, oh, it can be tough to even look at. I'm going to be honest with you. And even when you get a solid game, because it'll vary, you know, you can get lucky sometimes and have one where these issues aren't as bad. But even during those times, there's usually still a good amount of input lag, which really sucks when you're trying to time stuff just right, like navigating through obstacles in the races, using your abilities both in the races and in the battles, and that can really screw you up, especially in the battles. Like, I'll be trying to hit an ability, and it's like I'll just be pushing the button like 3 or 4 times before it actually goes off. Yeah, having awful online just ruins the fun. I can't believe we're still doing this on Switch. I mean, this really isn't a big problem anywhere else. Definitely not this prevalent of a problem these days. I mean, I don't go buy games today on Xbox and PlayStation, especially exclusives, being like, man, I really hope the online works. It's not okay, Nintendo. This stuff, it hasn't been okay for a long time. And here's another thing. I just played Among Us, which came out on the Switch a few weeks. Shit, not Fall Guys. Fall Guys, and that has, what, like 60 players going simultaneously, again, on Switch. Admittedly, that game had a rough initial launch, like just for the first few hours, but that had more to do about so many people slamming the servers. The game had also just gone free to play and everything. I played it that night, and I thought it ran great. That's a multi-plat game on your system, again, whatever it is, 60 players, and I come over here to play this 4-player online exclusive, which exclusives made just for the Switch should obviously be the best games overall. And I get this? It's just not good enough. The fact that this shit continues to not just be an issue on this system, but more so with Nintendo games on the Switch. Monster Hunter Rise is another one. Third-party game, runs great online on the Switch. I mean, what the hell? Let's be honest, it feels like they really just don't care when it comes to this stuff, and it'd be one thing if this was last gen, when the online for these games was free. Still, I don't think that would be an excuse to have terrible online. Like, I don't think this should be acceptable on any major platform, regardless of how much they're charging you. But we pay for this crap now. And I don't care the price. Oh, it's only $20 or whatever a month. No. I don't care if it's 50 cents. I'm paying that for this? And what really makes me mad is that if this online wasn't so piss poor, this game is actually doing a lot of things right, in my opinion, and could even be a solution to one of Nintendo's other big problems lately. If you follow my channel, many other people who cover Nintendo, there's been a lot of criticism of these multiplayer online-focused games, sports games mostly, on Switch that launch with very little content, charging $60 up front for these games that will hopefully be worth it down the line after updates. All the fanboys screech at us every time we bring this up. Oh, you just gotta be patient. Pay them now and hopefully get content eventually. And then even if the game doesn't get solid updates, just be grateful anyway. Just be grateful Nintendo gave you anything for your $60. But like I said, Kirby's Dream Buffet launched with very little content. Again, only like a handful of mini games, but the game launched for $15. If the online was functional, I'd say this is actually a really good value. And they could add to this over time with either free or paid content. I'd be totally willing to pay another $15, $20 if they doubled the amount of games, maps, unlockables, and that. Who knows? Maybe eventually the game ends up being $60 for the complete experience, but at that point it's worth it, and they didn't try to charge you that money up front and have you just wait for it to come eventually. Have them wait to see if the game's successful enough for them to add significant content. Yeah, I think that'd be the way to do it. Let people decide as content comes out if that's worth paying more for, rather than just shelling out $60 with no clue of what sort of content is coming or when. Even if nothing gets added, if this is one and done, this is the game, I feel like $15 as is, I'm fine with that. but not with the online being so atrocious. So I genuinely hope they fix this with it being Nintendo. I'm not holding my breath, of course. And again, it sucks because this is actually a solid little game. It's well designed overall. Besides the online, it's cute, fun, lots of little unlockables. But like with so many Nintendo games, it's lacking so bad in this department. Nintendo really needs to figure this shit out because it's not working. And in 2022, frankly, it's past the point of being embarrassing. Like I said, it's strictly a Nintendo Switch thing these days. Even when other online games have issues at launch, I typically feel confident that they're going to work it out, but again, not with Nintendo. So if you're looking to buy this game and you have people to play with offline, because it does have local play on the same system, and even with a group of systems connected, you can play like over LAN. If you're in that camp, then this may be worth it to you, but if you're looking to primarily play with people online, I'd definitely hold off. Wait to see if these issues get ironed out. And once more, I hope they do, because the game is really fun. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Kirby's Dream Buffet in the comments. Did you pick the game up? Are you currently playing it? Are you enjoying it? What do you think of the online? Are you hopeful those online issues will get resolved? They'll get patched? Are you surprised that Nintendo released a game with this bad of online? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.